Today I'm going to take y'all through what I eat in a day in my second trimester of pregnancy. Our breakfasts are very simple. They always include eggs every day. There's not a day that goes by that we don't have eggs. So today I'm having some eggs with some just sourdough toast. This was actually a not so good loaf of bread, so we've been making a lot of it into toast. There are times I still have bad bread in our household, so if you have been trying sourdough and have had some failed bread loaves, don't feel bad because it's 4 years in. I'm still having bad loaves every now and then. And then I'm going to be adding some crushed minced garlic. So I talked about this a few videos back about garlic and the importance of it in pregnancy for group B strep prevention. So this is just something I include about halfway through my pregnancy, is a clove of garlic every day, chopped, minced, put on top of food, consumed by itself for reducing the risk of group B strep. So I'll link an article below on the research behind this. There is not actually a lot of research because nobody makes money off garlic. I mentioned this a while back, but it is very, very, very helpful for reducing the colonies of group B strep that can come about and be passed to your baby. So I consume garlic every day for the last half of my pregnancy. Another thing I'll be showing you on this video is my glucose testing. So I wanted to include here just a simple habit I've learned a while back, and now I do this very regularly, is drinking a tall glass of water with about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar mixed in before each meal. So what this actually does is the vinegar will reduce glucose spikes by up to 30% and also reduces the insulin spike by about 20%. So if you are trying to work on your digestion, whether you're pregnant or not, this is a very simple habit to include because the vinegar contains acetic acid. This actually slows down how quickly starch turns to glucose during the digestion process and increases the absorption of glucose by our muscles. This results in a smaller glucose spike. So I've seen this to be very true with my glucose testing, which you're about to see in a few clips in this video of my pregnancy glucose testing, but this is just a really simple habit. It's really easy to do. I sip on this while I'm making the rest of our breakfast. So we're having the toast with avocado smashed on top. For me, I'm adding garlic to mine, and then we'll top this with some yummy fried eggs. As I told y'all before, we have eggs at every breakfast. There's not a breakfast that goes by that we don't have eggs in some form. It's just so high in protein, especially for pregnancy, that I don't ever skip out on the eggs. Plus, they're ready available because we have our own hens and they are getting into the spring months, and we are getting that abundance of eggs that I always have dreamed about. To add a little more protein, I'm also having some cottage cheese on the side with some blueberries. These blueberries were cooked in bone broth, so we're getting the benefits of bone broth in this breakfast and the flavor of blueberry. So I have talked about bone broth a lot and the importance of it, so anytime I can cook fruit in bone broth to saute it and kind of melt it down, that's an easy way to include bone broth in your meals. So simple, delicious breakfast that will keep me full for the rest of the morning. So mixing up here a batch of NORA tea. I actually mixed this up yesterday. It infused overnight, and now I'm straining it off to half throughout the day. So I've talked about NORA tea before. It stands for nettle, oat straw, red raspberry leaf, and alfalfa. These are just a combination of teas that are very mineral rich and beneficial for pregnancy, helping with blood loss, blood clotting, very beneficial for pregnancy. So I'm straining that off. So I have 4 pints here to last me the next 4 days. As I get later in my pregnancy, I'll actually be drinking double this. So I'll be straining them into quart jars instead of pint jars and drinking 4 cups a day instead of 2 cups. Next, sometime in the morning, I take my supplements. This is beef liver with chased with orange juice, and then my She Legit supplement. I'm also taking magnesium right now, but I'm just taking the liquid form. I've talked about how I take the magnesium bicarbonate. We bake it at home. I've talked about that before, so I actually am always consuming that through the day. So those are my main supplements right now: the beef liver, She Legit, magnesium, and then everything else I'm consuming from my food sources. So here is the glucose testing. So in my last pregnancy, I shared a lot about the glucose testing and the options for doing this at home rather than the typical traditional glucose testing with the glucola drink or even some of the other options. So testing it at home with real food seems to be the most accurate way to see my results over a 1 to 2 week window versus just a 2-hour snapshot of how my body is reacting to one particular meal. There's several options typically in pregnancy. You can either drink the glucola drink, which is filled with terrible ingredients that I would never consume in pregnancy. There's also the option to eat a small meal with certain foods that your provider suggests, which is a good option, but you're really only getting a quick snapshot of how your body reacted to that one meal. Whereas by doing these finger pricks over a 1 to 2 week time window, it gives you a much more comprehensive view to how your body is reacting to foods you're consuming over a specific time. And don't worry, these finger pricks are nothing compared to the pricks you get in like office setting. I was nervous myself when I first started doing this about pricking my finger, but it's actually so easy and you don't even really feel it. I made this little printout in my last pregnancy and I'm happy to share it with anyone who is interested in this at-home glucose testing. I'll have a download linked in the description if you want to download this printout for yourself. You do wait 2 hours after a meal to do your glucose test, so it's been several hours since breakfast, and I'm going to make a Yogi coffee. Y'all have seen me make Yogi coffees many times on this channel, and some of the ingredients in here are raw eggs, raw milk, and coffee, and a lot of these are on the no list of things to consume during pregnancy. But this is my 4th pregnancy, and for the last 3 pregnancies, I've consumed all of these. I've actually consumed many foods in my pregnancies that are like taboo foods to mainstream health recommendations, but the truth is every human body is different. I listen to my body, I tune into my baby, and trust what real food can offer us. I'm not afraid to consume these types of food if my body is reacting well to them. I understand the research behind them and I'm able to weigh the pros and the cons. And in my experience, consuming these foods, the raw egg yolks, the raw milk, the coffee, has been far from the public fears around these no-no foods for pregnant mamas. But I will say these foods might not be for you in your pregnancy at this stage of your life, in your healing journey, whatever your state of your body may be in. And that's okay. I do believe that each mother should feel confident and secure in her food choices and never be shamed or looked down upon for what she chooses to consume, though it may be frowned upon by many in like mainstream health recommendations. I only have coffee in my Yogi drinks once a day, and I sometimes only consume this every other day. But raw milk and raw egg yolks are a daily habit in my diet, and I've never felt better consuming these combinations of food regularly in pregnancy, in breastfeeding, and postpartum, and in all stages of my life. We've been doing this for the last almost 3 years now, and I've never felt better. Okay, for lunch, I'm having some random leftovers, but I needed some more protein to go with this, so I just scrambled up some of that leftover egg whites in that overflowing jar. I need to make some egg white marshmallows, which I've shared on this channel before with you guys, but we are out of gelatin. I'm waiting on my next order to come in after that big sale that Perfect Supplements had. If any of you stocked up on the Perfect Supplement sale and used my code, I cannot thank you enough. That it helps us out so much. It helps us support my channel when you use my affiliate codes, and I cannot thank you enough. So thank you if you used my affiliate code for the Perfect Supplements. That's actually what I'm waiting on, is my next order of gelatin to come in so I can make some more of the marshmallows. But for the meantime, I'm using some egg whites to go with our meal. So I'm just having some leftover bone broth rice with some pork sausage from our pig we just butchered, along with these egg whites, and topped it with this Siete Boglina. I don't actually know how to say this sauce, but it's a really good ingredient. I got this from Thrive Market. It's like a hot sauce. It's been really good in pregnancy because I always seem to like hot stuff in pregnancy. I actually like hot foods all the time, and it's just got really good ingredients. And then I had a side of some sweet pickles that we made last summer. I canned these last summer here. I've probably showed you all on my channel, but we're still getting through those pickles, so I'm always adding them to my side dishes. Okay, it is later in the afternoon, and I actually have a chiropractor appointment today, so I'll be out of the house for 2 or 3 hours this afternoon, right around the time when I would normally have like an afternoon snack. So I'm making my NORA tea to go. I've talked about my NORA tea on this channel a lot, and to make it taste better, I add a half of a lemon juice squeezed, a splash of maple syrup, and this is my chlorophyll supplement that I add for copper. So I'm not big on supplements. I get a lot of my copper from beef liver, bee pollen, but I do add this chlorophyll supplement to get a little extra copper. Copper is very important for iron absorption in pregnancy. Copper is not talked about enough in pregnancy, so any way I can include copper in my diet, I am, to balance out the iron absorption. Iron is important in pregnancy, but copper is just as important, and it's just not talked about enough. Since I am going to be out of the house for a good while, I'm adding some collagen to this to shake into there, and don't worry, that did shake in a lot better than it looks like it did here. So it is now, we're on the road, we're leaving the chiropractor, I'm having my little NORA tea collagen drink, and then we'll head home and get a little bit more of a snack, which is going to be a raw carrot salad. If you've been on my channel, you may have already heard me talk about the raw carrot salad so many times. It has so many benefits for health in general, female reproductive health, helps with menstrual cramping, it helps reduce estrogen dominance, which is the main culprit for nausea in pregnancy, is estrogen dominance. So I've shared with many women who've reached out to me about having nausea in pregnancy, I've told them to add this simple raw carrot salad. It's not going to be a quick fix, but over time, consuming this raw carrot salad will reduce your estrogen dominance to your progesterone ratio levels, which is the main culprit for nausea in pregnancy. So just a little tip there. If you haven't heard about the raw carrot salad, I'll leave a little bit of information below this video for you to do a little research on it and maybe think about including it in your diet. All right, the last meal I'm preparing today is dinner. We're having a simple meat, a couple side dishes, and a bread. I love dinners like this where I just throw a few things together and we have an easy meal. So we're having some honey glazed roasted carrots, some venison back strap. So for our back straps, I just season them with salt and pepper. I'm going to sear them on each side in a hot cast iron skillet for a couple minutes on each side. Then they're going to go into the oven, and I'm going to cook them until they're right at 125 degrees internal temperature. This is important for not overcooking backstrap, this steak cut. We have overcooked backstrap many times before. This is the best way I've found to cook it. So in the meantime, again, I'm gonna have my little glass of water with apple cider vinegar to reduce that glucose spike. This is a habit I've actually been adopting for quite a while now, not just because I'm doing glucose testing, but it's actually, I've seen a lot better results in my digestion overall in doing this, and just that like crash you get from sometimes when you get a glucose spike. All right, I'm checking my back straps here and seeing what their internal temperature is. They weren't quite at the 125. So I'm just gonna keep multitasking, sipping on my drink and letting them get to that temperature. For another side, I just toasted some more of that bread. That was not our best loaf of bread, with some butter and some salt. And we're just gonna have a simple dinner of venison steak, roasted honey glazed potatoes, and a piece of buttered toast. So simple. Now this meat is going to come out a little pink, so I suggest if you don't like pink to go with chicken, because this is the best way to eat backstrap. It is just so tender, so flavorful, the absolute best way. And I can tell y'all before, I've overcooked many backstraps and they are just hard to chew, hard to eat, void of any flavor. This is the best way. So if you don't like pink, again, stick with chicken, which I don't recommend because there's so much more nutrition in red meat. We are told to stray away from red meat, but again, it's just so vital to our health, and we don't fear foods in our family and in pregnancy, and it's just given us so many health benefits and truly nourishing our bodies. The carrots came out wonderfully, so this is just a really simple dinner. And I think I've mentioned this before, but anytime we have like just a muscle meat and I don't have a broth in our dish, I always include a small cup of bone broth on the side to help with the complete nose to tail eating that we should be eating from our animal products. All right, it is bedtime. I'm about ready to go to bed. I have my shower, have my pajamas on, and I'm making a quick nighttime drink. I always have a nighttime drink or snack. It's typically some sort of milky drink. Tonight it's just a collagen drink with milk. This is just collagen, cacao, and milk. Now when we have our flavored, chocolate flavored collagen from Perfect Supplements, I prefer to use it, but as I told you, I'm waiting on my order to come in from the big sale and I don't have it right now, so I'm just using some plain collagen with cacao powder and milk. I'm gonna froth it up in my milk frother. It's so whipped and delicious and frothy and absolutely my favorite nighttime drink to have. I also added a splash of magnesium, which helps with so many bodily functions, helps with sleep. And we're going to end the video out for the night. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I eat in my second trimester of pregnancy, and we'll talk to y'all in my next video.